top 10 hottest comics of the week based off of cover prices data. That is right. It's pure sales data determining the hottest comics of the week. Chris here likes to dissect this list and give his 3 most interesting picks from the top 10 list. We're just going to do it. Everybody cool? We're going to do it, okay?
Yeah.
Let's just do it. All right. At number 10, Something is Killing the Children. Number 1, the local comic book shop day foil variant. That is a gorgeous looking book. It's basically the original, but it's foil. Number 9, we have Shuri number 1. At number 8, we have Spawn number 1. It's interesting. This has been popping in and out of the top 10 list for quite a few weeks now. At number 7, we have The Nice House on the Lake number 1. This is not leaving the top 10 list each and every week. It is a mainstay. At number 6, we have Marvel Now, .1, the first cover appearance of America Chavez. She will be, it's also the first 616 appearance. She's confirmed for the Doctor Strange sequel. Number 5, we have Amazing Spider-Man 209, the first appearance of Calypso. At number 4, we have Submariner number 13, the first appearance of Gargantos. At number 3, we have Star Wars, The High Republic number 6. This has been in the top 10 list for the past 3 weeks. It was number 1 last week, I do believe. A lot of first appearances in there. At number 2, Michelle, Moon Knight number 3. That is your jam. First appearance of Midnight Man. And at number 1, we have Usagi Yojimbo, number 20, the second print, first appearance of Yukichi Yamamoto. That is a brand new character. Chris, a lot to play with there.
Man, sipping on my green tea.
Let me see, what do you got?
I call it the Incredible Hulk.
Okay.
All right.
It's
7 scoops of matcha green tea. It only comes with 3. I tell them 7 because I need it. I don't drink coffee, so I need some. I'm telling you, I'm very sensitive to caffeine, so I take a couple sips of these and I get on one.
You do. Right? You do.
Yeah. So I had to get a little fuel for me to get ready for these 3 picks. I like this list this week. It was cool. What do you think?
No, it was definitely diverse. There's a lot of stuff going on. Yep. I mean, let's just bring it up real quick again.
Yep.
Michelle, not sure if you had time to dive into this list as well, but it's
I actually had 3.
3
surprisingly.
3 out of 10. That's really good, actually.
Yeah.
Not many people have 1, so there you go. But Chris, let's just get into it. What is your first most interesting pick that you see from this list?
All right. I like what you said, Jet. Very diverse. We saw some things on this list that really kept it fresh for me this week. My number 3 pick, and I like what this book has to offer and why it's on this list. Marvel Now, .1 from 2012 is my number 3 pick. This is technically the first cover appearance of America Chavez. It's also the first appearance of her in the 616 universe. This is these .1 books. I mean, like, who would have thought when they issued one every year? I think the first one came out in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. And it's like, who would have thought as these books were coming out that they would be anything? I remember myself and my son, because my son has a few of them, a couple copies each, and we were buying them maybe in the dollar bins or just in the back issue bins for $2-3, whatever. Here's another one that is just catching fire. 145% increase in sales. $25 high raw, so it's not like a Kamala Khan or anything like that. But still, again, even like a month ago, this book was probably still, excuse me, cover price, or you could find it in bargain bins. Here's what's going on with this book that I absolutely like about why it's on this list. Not because it's picking up steam, not because it's selling for $25 high raw, and maybe it'll be selling for more a month from now. Maybe it'll drop back down to 10. I don't know. But here's the thing. Educated collectors. Educated collectors. Collectors aren't just out there buying stuff because they're mindlessly specking. You get a lot of people that assume this as such. And I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, because believe me, we talk about the detriments of FOMO. And I always say that FOMO isn't just a bad thing. FOMO can be a positive thing. But there are detriments. There are collectors. We go back to what Michelle was talking about earlier in the show about. She went to a con. She knew what she was looking for. She set prices. She had wiggle room to work around and play around with that. And she came out a winner because she was educated and smart. But I'm more focused on this book as being a indication that we have the tools at our fingertips to be educated to what these books are and what is going on in the books. And we are using apps like Key Collector or even just the internet or watching YouTube channels and listening to folks talk about books and talking about this being the first time this person battled with that person or the cover appearance of that. And we are using the age of technology to find more books that have key properties. So when people say, oh, people are calling anything a key these days. Well, what does that mean? What does key mean? I mean, you could go to sports coaches and managers and say, this is key. These are keys to the game. Or, these are keys to success. We look at comic books and find key elements of what's in those books. And those elements are there in this Marvel Now .1. The first cover appearance, the first appearance of her in the 616 universe, those are key elements, and people are learning these things. It takes so much. You have thousands and thousands and millions of back issue comic books, decades and decades of history to where going to the comic book shop and the LCS and hanging out on the weekend or after school and talking about the comics and learning that way, or, reading the Wizard magazines like we did when we were a kid, those helped out. But now that instantaneous information is at an all-time, it's faster than a speeding bullet, so to say. And that's what I like about this book. I'm not on this book hyping it up because, this is going to be the next big thing. It's just simply telling me that collectors they want to know every single book out there that has something important.
Yeah, thank you for that breakdown, because that was the one book that I knew nothing about that book. So
these point ones, you had Kamala, Sam Alexander. Now you're talking first cover appearance of America Chavez. Those are. I mean, that's a nice track record with those books. And the Sam Alexander one still hasn't hit peak, anywhere near peak as well, especially with Feige stating that Sam Alexander will be a Nova as well as Richard Rider. So we'll see about that. But it's an interesting one that's been around for a while. I see that book everywhere for $5 at the most. But it's interesting now. It's starting to increase because Doctor Strange 2 is coming out next year. She is in it. America Chavez is in it. And people are looking for those first cover appearances. This is one to get. And I think, again, a lot of these new characters were introduced in Marvel .1, so it's fascinating.
You guys think that we're going to get Johnny Blaze in Doctor Strange 2? Because there were rumors a few months ago. I am crossing my fingers.
It's hard to say. Here's the thing with Doctor Strange 2. There's already so much going on, and what they've looked at is like as a trilogy in terms of, by trilogy, 3 separate stories being told in WandaVision, to Spider-Man, which is going to explore the multiverse, and obviously culminating into Doctor Strange. There's already a lot going on there. Who knows what's going to happen? I mean, they balanced it well with Endgame and Infinity War, right? With a ton of characters, but to get a new, I don't know. It's hard to say. I can go either way on that.
I think the rumors were actually like somebody had said that they saw or heard of like actual like photos or like stuff actually in the works. Like it wasn't just a rumor. Chris, can you help me out? What was it that I read?
We got. I won't name drop the YouTube channels, but I did a whole video discussing how these certain couple YouTube channels, one with a huge following, that I continue to follow and see that they are trending on writing an unethical line of saying things are confirmed and they're not. And this person has almost a million subscribers, where the other one is just, I don't even know how they're getting any publicity. and they're going on saying that Marvel has confirmed a Midnight Suns film, and it's just not. It's not true. Now, is it practical for a Midnight Suns project to happen in the MCU? Absolutely. We got the horror genre coming. We got all these things being set up. There is no confirmation. There's nothing on the table. You got to be very careful with rumors. Rumors are good when the rumors are. See, I don't even like the term rumor. I just like to call it guessing and speculating. I like speculating, saying Johnny Blaze could show up in the MCU. We're getting Blade. Right. We're going horror. That would be great. Okay, cool. But a rumor means, that there's hints that it's coming from somewhere, and that's where you got to be very, very careful. For me,
Again, this is where you need to be careful, because people are throwing around exclusives and all this. It's happening, but you look it up, because if it was happening, if you're running with an exclusive, you could back it up by like, oh, so and so. You'd have a quote with who said it. And for another outlet, you can follow that quote up and ask them if they have anything additional to say, right? Yep. These people are like, exclusive, Midnight Suns is happening.
Yep.
That's all they have. And you look it up, and the Hollywood Reporter is not reporting on this. Variety, Deadline, all of these places. So you got to be careful. Do your research with that, because, again, people are throwing this stuff out there, and it's possible this could be happening. But a better way to do that, our sources are saying, right?
Yeah.
Instead of saying, this is confirmed, which is they're saying this isn't confirmed. There's no confirmation of that. And it's as simple as doing a Google search, because if it was confirmed, the MCU is worth billions and billions of dollars.
Oh, yeah. No, we know if it's confirmed.
Yeah. The MCU is worth billions of dollars, and the interest in the MCU, people can't get enough of them. So if somebody reports it and it's true, you're damn well sure people are going to follow those reports.
Yeah.
And go, like, so let's say the Hollywood Reporter has an exclusive that Midnight Suns is happening. I'm not saying this is happening at all. I'm giving an example. The Hollywood Reporter says that it's exclusive. This is happening. We interviewed Feige. He said this. Deadline would be like, the Hollywood Reporter said this, and Feige said this to the Hollywood Reporter.
Yep.
You see a lot of exclusives thrown around on these blogs. It's not an exclusive.
Yeah. And I just have to say,
here.
To Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Ironically, we got Sam Raimi behind the helm directing it. Sam Raimi knows about doing too much in a film.
Yes, he does.
Spider-Man 3. So
garbage.
I don't see a Ghost Rider showing up in Doctor Strange. I think it's absolutely too soon. I believe, and this is just my hunch right now, I think, Marvel, meaning Marvel Studios, is very good at setting things up years in advance, but it could be the smallest little things, call them Easter eggs, call them whatever. There could be a next step setup for a Johnny Blaze or a Ghost Rider. There could be a setup for a Mephisto, but those setups can be happening for 2 more years. I actually don't think we'll probably see a Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider until after Blade, in my humble opinion.
All right, second most interesting pick. What do you got?
All right, my second pick. Again, Jeff, you mentioned earlier, very diversified list. I love seeing this. And remember, this is the top 10 hottest selling comics. And when we get Bronze Age books selling and on this list, I get ecstatic. And there was multiple. My number 2 pick is Amazing Spider-Man number 209. Big Spider-Man fan, as you all know. And this is the first appearance of Calypso, making some waves. Rumors, here we go with rumors. Rumors say that she will show up in the Sony Craven film. Love interest of Craven. Obviously, there are rumors that there's already talks of certain actresses playing the role. But again, take heed to rumors for sure. Here's what this book's been doing, though. 267% increase in sales this week. That's really solid. A high raw, though, sold for $125.
Wow.
Yeah, that is wow. A high 9.8 CGC, $650. But back in June, which was what, 2 months ago, it was about half that. So the thing you gotta look at with this. Now, I love my Spider-Man. I think this is a great book. I have this issue. I probably only have one, and I filled this run. You know, I couldn't have paid more than $5 for this book, and I'm not saying it's a near mint copy. So that high raw that sold for $125. I saw it. It was an eBay sale, and it was listed as near mint. Take eBay sellers' grades with a grain of salt. I looked at the pictures though.
Yeah,
it was very high grade. So,
okay.
But you look at this book and a CGC 9.8 doubling, you know, in just a matter of a couple months based on rumors. That's where it gets, you know, kind of sketchy, where I tell folks to take heed. And you got to look at it because what's hot right now in general, that 9.8 market. So again, my advice for folks that want to go after this book, know for one that it's just rumors. All right. And then you got to play around with it though, because you got to sit and say, well, if the rumors are true and I wait and I really want this book, I might miss it for where it's at now and it might keep going up. If the rumors are true, it's going to cool off and drop back down. So if you're into those high grades, I always recommend staying away from the 9.8s at this stage in the rumor game. Go find a high raw. Look at this right here. If this individual that bought that high raw for $125, maybe he pays $25 to get it pressed and clean, you know, and then he ships it off to CGC or whatever, and it comes back at 9.8. If he paid $150 in total, went and paid, you know, roughly $30, $35, $40, including shipping for CGC, you know, he's putting in less than $200. And right now it seems to be that he could go flip that for around $650. Then you make a lot of money in your pocket. Then instead of saying, I need that right now, oh my gosh, FOMO, I'm going to miss out. I'm going to go pay $650 for a 9.8. Chill, take a breath, relax. I will say this though. I'm very hopeful for this Craven film. I'm very hopeful for the continued relationship between Marvel Studios and Sony when it comes to the Spider-Man properties. If Craven is introduced as a huge Spider-Man fan, Jeff, you could probably talk to this too. I don't think that you can have, I mean, you could, but hey, Calypso, and you got a Craven film, especially his own standalone film, you got to have Calypso. That's just my humble opinion. So, yeah.
Great advice there. With the chill, take a breath.
Yeah, I mean, seriously,
Yes.
like the FOMO. Yeah, be careful. Like, I don't know what to expect with the Craven film. I mean, I didn't know what to expect with the Venom film, but I wasn't happy with the first one. And again, because Venom, no Spider-Man, it just doesn't make sense. Craven, no Spider-Man, doesn't make sense. I'm hoping Morbius is going to lead us in the direction where the MCU and Morbius kind of, as you said, that relationship. Yep. You know what? We're going to continue this conversation after we get through the top 10 hottest comics, because Chris has his last pick here.
Oh, yes.
Interesting pick of the week.
So many to pick. And I picked this one not because of our guest co-host today.
It is because of our guest.
I swear, I picked it because I really wanted to pick it.
Oh, yeah.
Moon Knight number 3. First appearance of Midnight Man. Look at that awesome cover with the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
Mona, like, just like staring. I feel that's like that should be a meme. Like caption this.
Dude, you could replace those two on the cover with like any like characters and just just meme it all day.
Right. Well, here's the thing. First appearance of Midnight Man. This book, we got an announcement this last week. Midnight Man is going to be in the Moon Knight Disney Plus show. So what happened? Boom. 363% increase in sales. A high CGC 9.8. I'm dyslexic here. $950.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Like a 9.8 breaking 1,000. You want to know what 9.8 just recently started breaking the $1,000 mark? Wolverine #1 limited series.
Oh wow, that's less than $1,000 still.
No, it's a bit over. I believe fair market is around 1,100 right now. But I'm comparing it like, can you believe this book?
Right.
Right now, $950 for Midnight Man, who wow. 2 weeks ago, a CGC 9.8, and this sold for $325.
No, if you're buying this now, do not buy a 9.8 graded copy.
Again, this is the same. This is the same thing. Look, I remember picking this up. Maybe it was before COVID, so it had to be a couple years ago now. And again, this is just another one that I had to have paid no more than $5 for. And I'm not saying it's near mint, but here's the thing. It's very similar to what I talked about, and it's really funny because I did my live stream. I did my Quasar video yesterday, talking about 5 Quasar books to, invest in before his MCU debut. And I had a comment, respect to this comment. I disagreed with him, but he was kind of really jumping down my throat saying, all you're doing is, you shouldn't buy or speculate on movie books. And all you're doing is getting some young or new collector to, go buy a book thinking they can make money off of it, and they're going to spend their last $20 and lose it all because after the movie sucks or debuts, book's gonna crash. And I presented my whole live stream today, showing that even key books that have had movies that have crashed, like Dark Phoenix, what was another one? New Mutants, a lot of bad reception. And then I did Avengers 196, the first full appearance of Taskmaster, because of all the backlash with what happened with Taskmaster in the Black Widow film. And I showed that even after an announcement and after a casting, even if the movie does bad or there's negative backlash, even if the book drops off a little bit, there's a new floor, and it's never going to go back down. So I crunched the numbers and I said, even if you bought these books when we already knew the movie was coming, we already knew the character was going to be in it, and you sold it today, even though it's dropped a little bit since right before the movie came out, you would still make a profit, right? So that's usually what happens. But that's why when it comes to speculating and when it comes to investing and wanting to invest, to be mindful of return on investment, whether you want a return on investment because you want to flip it and make money, or you just want a return on your investment to hold as a long-term asset, right? The way you do that is you educate yourself. So when we got a Moon Knight announcement, what should you have gone out and done? And you got all these resources. You got Key Collector. And I know Key Collector, sometimes I think some of their labeling I feel like is inaccurate, whatnot. But you can literally go to Key Collector. You can look up character by character, Moon Knight. Or you can look up the Moon Knight series. And it'll list every single book that features that character or that series. And a book will be, if it has a first appearance or a first meeting or a classic cover or an origin or anything, it'll be on there. And then what do? You can go to your local LCS and you can start collecting that run and filling that run. So again, you probably could have bought this book for even under $10 raw a month ago. You could have got this book in a 9.8 2 weeks ago for a third of what it's selling for right now. So the point I'm trying to make, and I'm going to use my topic of discussion on my live show to discuss why I picked this book as #1. I'm not showing you this book and these numbers to say, wow, look at what it did 2 weeks ago. Look at what it did today. Don't buy it. And I'm also not here to say, this book is so hot, go buy it. I'm here to show you why these books get hot, where they're at, and what they're doing on the market, for you to then be educated to say, well, the MCU, for one, ain't slowing down anytime soon. You got dozens and hundreds of characters to play with still, dozens of runs. Be on your game. If you're in it for return on investment and speculating purposes, don't wait until we get an announcement and a casting and we know that the show is so close. Be on top of your game. Follow the cookie crumbles, the cookie crumbs, and be smart, because if you're smart and you're ahead of the curve, you can be that person that bought the book 2 weeks ago for $325, and it might be that same person that now sold it this week for $950.
Yeah, I'm lucky I was able to get this full run a few months back, and great prices for everything. But the thing is, I have one copy of this, and if I'm gonna ever sell it and break up that full run, it's not gonna be right now. Oh wait, and I like what Swagglehouse was talking about with his son. So like, I have a feeling that in the show they're gonna do like a flashback to the original Midnight Man, because I think they confirmed that it was Anton Mogart, which is the original from this book. But maybe it'll be like a flashback sequence, and then in present day we're going to get his son who comes back later, and there's a lot more interaction between Moon Knight and his son in the comics. But I don't know. It's an interesting character, and I think it's going to be awesome. And we'll see. Like, dude, when this show drops, like every week, I'm going to be like on the edge of my seat, losing my mind, like, because this is the first show that is going to come out for a character that I discovered on my own and I fell in love with, and I'm seeing for the first time on the screen. So I'm just like, oh my God, what are they going to do? What villains are they going to introduce? What books are going to be, are going to blow up? Like, this is cool. But this one was the first book that I'm like, oh, this book is starting to get some buzz. I have it in my collection already. It's a good feeling,
It is, right?
That's really cool too. Again, it goes back to what Swaggle was saying. He wishes he could relive things through you, but also just having that perspective of something that you kind of latched onto with this character, or something about this character you really like, and now being able to see it come to fruition in a live action series. That's exciting stuff. That is absolutely exciting. And I think I saw you post this book months ago, by the way.
No, so, I think I just posted it the other day because I had never shared it before, and I was like, well, here's a good time where I can share this book. But it's cool, and now I'm starting to get a feel for, like, once the MCU spec and these new shows come out and the casting rumors, and it's like, ooh, we can look in our collections and see, okay, I have this, just kind of watching the market and engaging. But yeah, it does suck because I'm always so late to the party when it comes to the spec game. And I'm sure a lot of people wish that they had that book right now. But like Chris was saying, I mean, don't go out and run and try to pick up a 9.8 grade.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's it. That's the ship has left, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you missed the bus on that. Don't expect to buy that and expect some kind of crazy return on investment.
Right.
So it's just, you got to be smart. You got to do the research. And Brandon, this would be a tough one to kind of, I would say, guess upon, right? In terms of the show, or is it obvious? Like, I wouldn't think it is, but I think a lot of people are jumping on it right now.
Yeah, the one thing about I think that stands out with the MCU next to like the issues with the DCEU and even maybe the independent stuff, and you get the Netflix shows, and like the thing with the MCU's spec books on characters like a Midnight Man or something like that, that's not Moon Knight, these side characters, is the MCU and Marvel Studios has a really good ability of taking these different obscure, lesser known characters and making them fan favorites or drilling them into your memory as great characters. Like, look at Killmonger, for an example, Michael B. Jordan. I don't care if Killmonger never comes back. That that was his MCU moment in that one film, and the MCU continues on for 30 more years. Killmonger's first appearance is always going to be a bigger key now because of what he did in the MCU and its legacy building. Because we as collectors, just like new collectors in the 70s or the 80s or 90s up until today, look back and say, oh, that Amazing Fantasy 15, or oh, that Warlock Infinity. Just kidding. But it's like You look back on these classic books and these classic stories that get you to start learning about these characters, identifying with these characters. This generation, or even new, maybe people our age that are new to collecting, they could go down and watch the movie and see Michael B. Jordan's performance, be like, oh, Killmonger. And then you're being introduced. It's just in a different format. And then you're going back to the comic books. So, don't think that just because it's a villain, it's not going to last. Don't think that just because maybe they're a one and done, or they show up for a film or two or one show and then you don't see, like, they become a bigger part of the mythos. We get educated on them. It goes back to what I was saying about understanding the key elements of each books. We're getting educated more and more of these characters, and they're becoming more meaningful to us. So even if this book is hot because of the FOMO right now, we don't know how this character's role is going to play out in the show. I have faith that Marvel Studios is going to, look at what they did with the Guardians team. Rocket Raccoon. Who ever thought Rocket Raccoon is an icon now? That book is going to be a classic Bronze Age book that's going to continue to increase over time. So you absolutely never know.
Definitely.
Yeah. I have high hopes for the Moon Knight series, and I agree with everything that you said about villains and even characters that aren't huge, but the Marvel movies and the shows, it's, from what I understand, it's completely changing the game and changing the market, changing how we remember and view these characters. And it's crazy, man, but it's fun. It's awesome. It gives us something else to talk about and something else to speculate about. And,
it's a lot of fun. It being able to watch this with my dad. And, I grew up with these characters too. My dad, my parents know Spider-Man, Superman, they know the basics, but watching this stuff with my dad, it's just been awesome. And, watching Infinity War, where everybody, half the characters, fucking got dusted. He's like, wait, what? I just wanted to watch him and his reaction to that. And I can't wait to take that journey with my daughter, to be honest with you. So that is super exciting. And right there, that ends our top 10 hottest comics of the week. We'll have a new list next week, and Chris will pick his 3 most interesting books off of that list next week.